Okay, I'm making a video about Windows 10 networking. I don't know if I'm going to put this on YouTube or not. It's more really for my own reference. Um, of course, Microsoft, in typical fashion, has made things yet worse and worse and worse. They just, every time they come up with a new release of Windows, they make things just so much worse. I mean, compare Windows 7, for example, to Windows 10. No comparison. Windows 7 was nothing, nowhere near as easy to use as XP in many ways. Although there was some big improvements on Win 7. I actually like Win 7 more than anything, but Windows 98 was, talking about networking, was the easiest thing to network out there. So, but it's, networking wise, it's gotten worse and worse and worse for sure. But, I said even in general usability, well, it went up a little bit to Windows 7 and then down the tubes after Windows 7. But at any rate, I'm not here to gripe about Microsoft, but it's really a pain in the ass, and I still can't find any really good documentation of this. But I managed to piece together some things, about one method to network, between Windows 10 computers. Now, I haven't tried this extensively. I still do not know for sure if it works with Windows 7 or not. I do have Windows 7 on my laptop, but I haven't tried it yet. But what you got to do basically is, networking doesn't use work groups or anything, and home groups or whatever. In fact, I never even got the hang of home groups, so no big loss to me, except that it's harder to browse the internet. If you notice some things, and this is what's really aggravating to me. Let's see, let me close this. Put this off to the side here. Okay. But yeah, what's really aggravating to me is the fact that, I'll go up to like network here, okay? Now, you'll see, in this computer I can see, this computer is i7, okay? And, this is one of my Lenix computers right here. And this is my i3, which has Windows 10 Pro on it. This computer here has Windows 10 Home. Windows 10 Home, this is an older computer. I got this in like 2014 or something. No, 2017. But my other computer technically is older. The i3 is actually an old computer, but it's got a newer operating system, so I really just bought that. So it was like a, one of those refurbished computers off Amazon. But anyway, the point is that, it's got Windows 10 Pro on it, and it's going to be like a newer, I guess, install or whatever, whereas the Windows 10 on this computer, dates back a few years. 2 or 3 years, I guess. 2.5 years. But anyway, the point is, though, is that this computer, I can kind of see stuff, although there are times when I can't actually see anything on the network. Like yesterday, I couldn't see any of this stuff. I mean, hardly anything was showing up, including this computer itself, but then it just mysteriously started working later in the day. But normally it works. Normally I can see a lot with this computer. Now, the other computer, I can't see this computer at all. In fact, with no other computer can I see this i7 here. This just does not show up, even though I've got it fully shared as you would conventionally share it. So, because conventionally, you go to a folder and, and go into the sharing options. That's why I left one of these things up, like, you go into here and hit properties, okay, and, you go into the sharing deal, and you'd hit share, and, okay, add it, and now, see, this is all changed. Which was confusing me, and I didn't realize they changed it. But normally you'd do something akin to share this folder, and just, maybe set permissions on it if need be, like that, for example, and then hit, OK, and, then close it. Normally a little share icon would show up, which they don't do that anymore, which sucks. At least Linux does that still. I mean, when you actually do succeed at sharing folders, it will actually put a share icon notifying you, hey, this thing's shared. However, you can still go, well, see, look, see, my i7 disappeared. Where'd it go? See, I guess it's because I just clicked share. Well, let me refresh the network and see if that helps. It helps to hit refresh. Like I said, you can we'll do it here too. But this little refresh button, sometimes you got to hit it. But anyway, you got your i7 icon. If you click on that, that shows you everything that you've shared. So that's actually how it works these days in particular. And I guess that used to work that way before too. I hardly ever paid attention to that. But okay. So what folder did I just share there? AutoCAD architecture, I guess. So yeah, it says that's shared. But the problem is this computer won't show up on any other machine. So I'm on my i7 or i3 now. Yeah, I don't see anything but it showing up. Now on my i3, my laptop will actually show up, and my laptop will show up on this too when it's on. It's an i5, so I mean it does show up. But this computer here, I can't get any computer to see it. Not a Linux machine, not nothing. And I'll tell you, too, incidentally, if you're interested in network tools, to actually try to sniff out what's on your network, a really good program to use is, hell, too much stuff up on this computer. I can't find anything. Hold on, I'll see. A real good program to use is Advanced IP Scanner. And you can look and I'll tell you this, another really awesome site to look at is this site called Alternatives 2. So, you type in, say, alternative2.net. So, you can go there, and you can enter a software name like say 3D Studio. Okay, and it'll tell you, oh come on. Alright, so let's go to 3D Studio Max. Okay, that's the actual program, so it'll tell you about the program. It says it's commercial, but it'll also, you come down here and it'll give you alternatives to, like Blender. Okay, yeah, so like Blender, for example, and it gives you a little rating, how many people have liked it, and and tells you if it's free, and this happens to be open source. It's available on Linux, Windows, etc. And then SketchUp is a freemium. Okay, it's on Mac and Android. Maya is premium. Cinema 4D is commercial. Then you got this whatever this is. And it tells you what the platforms are, and some of them are open source, free, some of them are straight up commercial, and some of them are just free personal or free period, but they're more like shareware or something like that. But see, it tells you little warnings too, like if they're discontinued. Okay, it tells you that it's been discontinued, and it'll also tell you if there's bad things about it, like bloatware or something on it. Although it's not guaranteed, because these are things that people report. So if people say, hey, this thing has viruses in it or something, well, it'll often show up here. So it's a good way to kind of filter software out. That's what I mostly use this for, because it's because you can come up here to the top, okay, and go in here and alternatives to 3ds Max for all platforms. So I can say Mac or Linux. Usually Windows shows up here too. You got all these platforms, and you can choose whether it's free, commercial, or open source. So, which this kind of does the same thing. So you can kind of filter things out if you want. So it's a really cool little thing. But at any rate, I said that IP, advanced IP scanner. This is actually how I found this tool. Is I just came in and entered something kind of ambiguous, like network address scanner or something, and this was one of the things that showed up. Anyway, this is a really good little program, and like I said, you come here, then it, then it gives you the, like the official website. So you go to the website, and I typically will actually open this in a new tab, and believe me, you'll learn to appreciate doing this. If you probe a lot, it's best to open these up in a new tab, because believe me, when you come back, often you lose your place, so it's best to open things up in a new tab if you can. But anyway, you go here and you free download, voila. And but this what it'll do is it'll actually scan your network. It's really simple to use. And you should go in the view settings too, because there are some other options like side panes and stuff that are kind of nice, so that you can turn on or off. But anyway, it'll go through and tell you what all networks and what all addresses are on your local network and what all devices you have connected to it. It's not quite as good as logging into your router, but it's still pretty good. And what's great too is that you can click on one of these things, and if you can get into it, it'll let you in. So it also can act like a bit of a portal to some extent. Anyway, it's a cool little program that you should look into if you're into networking. I've tried looking at like Nmap or whatever, which is a very popular program. That looks just too complicated. I hadn't had time to get into that. I'm not some network specialist here. But at any rate, I just wanted to show you this because this is fucking fantastic. But anyway, I digress again. Now, but like I said, I shared that thing right there, right? This AutoCAD architecture. Now, okay, so that's its address. But let me try something. I've never tried this before. Because I only just discovered how to do this thing last night. Okay. // i7-internet -pc in uppercase / AutoCAD architecture. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, so this file name is actually showing up. I wish I could show you because I'm on the i3 right now. But the actual, even before I'm done typing the name, it's actually showing up, so that's a good sign. Now it says Windows cannot access the network, or the file. So I don't know if that's, I don't know what the problem with that is. I did that right. Yeah, I definitely did that right. Say network. Where the hell did I go? Come on. PC images. Okay. Yeah, I've still got access to the one I did yesterday. So I don't know why, but this one, doing it the traditional way doesn't work. Okay, but if I go in there and, like I said, what you're supposed to do nowadays, if you want to share a folder, is instead of coming down to properties, which by the way, I guess I better cover this. It's a formality. Make sure you go to your network and sharing center down here, and you turn on network discovery. Private networks. Kind of set yours up like this. Make sure this is done, otherwise you'll have problems. And you got to generally turn on file and print sharing too, which is done here if you haven't actually done that yet. But you only need to do this once. I mean, once you set it up, you're fine. You just go advanced sharing, etc. And actually, I don't even know if you can do that anymore. Yeah, no, I think they changed this. Because there used to be an option here to turn on file and print sharing. I don't really see it anymore. And this wasn't long ago either. I mean, I guess they just changed this part recently. I don't know. But yeah, I thought they used to have a means of turning on file and print sharing. Maybe this is where you did it. But I know you used to do it here though too. So that's strange. Maybe that was Windows 7 I'm thinking of. Anyway, but you got all networks, and like I said, you're usually supposed to turn this off. So, and I probably will turn it off. But I'm just trying to experiment with this at the moment. I did enable this lower encryption rate. Again, I'll probably up that later, but turn off password protection. But this doesn't seem to do anything. I mean, you still have to use fucking passwords no matter what. I have not been able to get it so you don't have to do this. Maybe there's some peculiarity about my network or something. I don't know. But at any rate, that's a formality. That's what most people tell you you need to do to enable sharing, but it doesn't work. And even if a computer does happen to show up, on your little network area, you usually won't be able to get into it without a fucking password. See, this one I can get into because I enabled it a long time ago somehow. I think this whole thing worked different because I did not network to this computer like I'm going to show you today. Okay, let's go to like this, because this is how you're supposed to do it. But firstly, you need to make sure you go down and, let's see, create a new, because you'll probably need to do this to create a new account. And I don't know if I should change account settings, but let's see if it's the right window. Okay, sign in, access to work or school. Okay, you want to come here, in your account settings and say family and other people. And what I did was I just, and other people said add someone else to this PC, or you can add a family member. Just if you're just doing a home network, just do it. Keep it simple, stupid. This gives you the path of least resistance. So so you can add a child or an adult. Add as child. Again, you can probably do an adult if you want, but I don't know. The person doesn't have an email address, and it'll basically create an account for you with an Outlook.com. Then you enter a password, make up some birthday, and then next, and you'll basically just follow the prompts, and you'll get if you want to make it a real person, that's fine, but I just made somebody up, and it'll give you an address, but who cares. An Outlook account, which I don't even have Outlook as far as I know. I mean, maybe I do in some kind of electronic sense. I have no clue. Microsoft's so fucking screwed up, I just don't know what to make of it. But at any rate, the point is that's how I got these accounts. I just basically made them up. I'm switching to Lenix because I was so pissed off that I had to do this. Because I was like, this is ridiculous. You need a fucking account to sign into your fucking computer. I mean, what happens, if I ever lose that? Am I going to be, if I didn't have a job and didn't, lost this account somehow, I don't lose access to my machine? The fuck, I had to reinstall everything. What if I don't have the damn disks, for the operating system, which you usually don't on computers these days? I'm sitting there jobless. I got no way of affording to buy a fucking computer disk, to reinstall fucking Windows. I'm sitting there without a goddamn account because Microsoft went out of fucking business or whatever. I mean, what the fuck, But at any rate, that's I don't need to get on a rant here. But at any rate, the point is you need some kind of an account. Now, I would have used my account, but the problem is I don't think I ever set up a password for it. I mean, I just used that PIN login. So, I mean, I don't know that it has a password, so I don't know what to do. And I don't think you can go create one because I don't think it lets you do that. So you can either sign in with a PIN or a password, but it doesn't let you enter both. So as far as I know, I don't actually have network access with my, main account. So in fact, I've got so many accounts going on here, I don't even know what account this computer signed in on. So I'm just really confused about how Microsoft does this. It's just total wacko, total bullshit. I mean, I kind of know when they do it from a security standpoint, but I mean, man, this is just bullshit's getting thick. Stop fixing it, goddammit. Anyway, the fact of the matter is, is that you can come in here, okay, and take this file for example. What you've got to do to share it after you set all that other stuff up is you come here and go to give access to. Now these don't do anything anymore, so don't worry about them. There's no such thing. They don't actually support home groups at all. But you got to go set specific people, okay, and then something will pop up like this. but like I said, you can go add certain things on here, but what I typically try to do is hit everyone. Now you can list a specific person or not, but you're going to need this later when you're trying to log in. But I just say add everyone, okay, and you can give them read-write permissions, which is what I did. It's just sharing that particular folder, so I don't really care, right? So it's in this low security area. So anyway, just hit done, okay, and then we go back to our network area, and you'll find that that math.io is shared. Now let me try to access that. Let's see. Did that ask me if I don't know if it. I didn't notice if one of these popped up. Yeah, I guess it did, didn't it? Well, shit, I didn't notice it. That doesn't matter. But one of those windows will pop up asking you to copy. Giving you the ability to copy this. The problem is if you do, it actually copies all this gibberish, and I'm not clear on whether that actually works or not. I can try it right here. Oh, come on. Damn it. Damn piece of crap. See, this is the kind of gibberish that pops in there. So, okay, well, it's asking me to log in. This is what you'll get if you try logging into another computer, but with another computer. This is one of the accounts I created. You got to go that at. You got to enter that email address. If you don't, you're not going to get very far. I'm not sure if I typed that right. Okay, see, this is what it does here. It's not getting you anywhere. It's pulling up a stupid fucking website. Now, let me go see, though. Move this out of the way. But, this, actually, this, I've never actually managed to access for some reason. I'm not sure if I set it up wrong or not, but I've actually never managed to access it. This one, let's try it again. This is a more network friendly because it's it's only got one word there, images, instead of prime video. So okay, but this is how you access it, though, by the way. It's with the File Explorer, not the internet. Okay, so I copied this, using that copy command. Now let's see what it does. Huh, that's weird. Connect to Bing.com. Why would I do that? What? That's stupid. Yeah, I see it pulled up a stupid internet site again. But at any rate, this one here, this images, I know works. And you backslash black. So now I don't know if I can do it for sure from the local machine, because you're supposed to, I think, use localhost or whatever is the internet PC backslash. Oh, it's giving you a list of shared files. Images is the one I'm logged into currently on the other machine, and voila, you're in. Now this didn't ask me for a password, but it does on the other PC, and that's why I usually enter that Bert, at outlook.com. That's what was required to get me into it. I mean, you can't just say Bert whatever, without an email address attached to it. So that's the key. But that's why you do need those other accounts, and it, I guess, has to be an account on that other computer too. So, for you to actually log in, I think. I'm not sure about that, but I think that's required. But in any event, that way you can actually open a share folder or just a group of files or what have you with other people, and but you'll have to log in with the right credentials on the remote computer. But I don't think you have to log in with the same credentials you're logged into that computer with. I'm not sure, but I don't think I'm logged in as that Bert, but I might be. I'm not even sure how you check to see who the hell's actually logged into the damn computer, because it doesn't tell you that anymore. I mean, it used to. I mean, it used to show up, right in the frickin' start menu, right at the top. It was always told me who was logged into this computer, but I don't fucking know how to find that out anymore. Which one of these is frickin' logged in? And I didn't even think I had a guest. I guess I set that up as a guest network or whatever, but I mean, they shouldn't be able to sign in. Because I did set one of these little sharing accounts up as guest, just for shits and giggles to find out. I'll probably delete that. But yeah, I don't know who the hell's logged in. I mean, there's probably some stupid way of finding out. I guess this is who's logged in, I suppose. But that's not an option here. So I mean, I don't know. I mean, like I said, this thing's got me confused, and like I said, I have to type in with a different password to get into like Visual Studio, and it's just I don't know. I mean, I don't know. It seems like it changes who's logged into this computer when I do that. That's why I'm really confused. Because Microsoft just doesn't have this very well thought out yet. It's just not consistent. I mean, it's just got me really puzzled. So, but you can say, well, you could have gone about it in a more organized way. Well, no, I can't, because they're changing this shit right out from underneath me, and I don't know what the fuck's going on. It's not like I'm getting a bunch of notices or anything, and it's not like you can go to their website and figure out how this stuff really works. You really can't. I mean, I had to really piece this together, partly with what's on Microsoft, partly what I could find out on YouTube. And it's just everybody's wrong, and I'm probably wrong too. I mean, they'll probably change everything I'm showing you here within 6 weeks. So who knows? I mean, 'cause that's the thing. There's just no accurate information out on the internet, none at all. I mean, you look at something on YouTube or whatever. Well, believe me, if it's even a week out of date or 2 weeks out of date, it's probably going to be wrong. Don't believe me? We'll try to figure out how to network Lenix computers to the PC. You're going to find all kinds of crap, particularly depending on what your distro is. I did finally manage to do that too, but that's the subject of another video, but still it doesn't work very elegantly yet. But I in fact, I already forgot how I did it. I made some notes. Where was the network thing? Okay, right here. Let's see, this is a Core 2 Duo, but okay, yeah, right here. So I did manage to, what I had to do is set up a file sharer using Samba on Linux. Is ultimately what I had to do. It's a real pain in the ass because most of these don't have it installed by default, and if you're like new to Linux like I am, I mean, good luck. It's you're going to be in for a headache. But trying to get, like if you're on Ubuntu, you gotta, really set Nautilus up. That's a good way of doing it, because that can, I think, allow you to have simple file sharing. But I'm still not, I can't remember very clearly how well that worked, because I don't really see any of the files that I shared, I don't think. And it might have been this. Well, yeah, I think this might be one of the files I shared through Nautilus on Ubuntu. But again, you got to go in and install the packages to do that. Even if you find Nautilus on your system, which you're going to be confused about, because guess what? It's got a file program of some kind, but it's probably not Nautilus. So you're probably going to have to hunt for it, maybe even install it. But there's a good chance it's already installed if you got Ubuntu. But you probably won't come across it, depending on whose actual distro you use. And I'm using it from Ubuntu, but like Ubuntu Studio, it's hard to find, because it wasn't the default file share program they had, and I had to dig for it. So I had to actually enter Nautilus in a little search bar to actually find out if it's on my system or not. And I still had to install like 2 or 3 separate upgrades, because there's one upgrade you got to install to activate the sharing part of it on Nautilus, if I recall. Yeah, there is. Because it'll be missing some packages, even if it does show up as an option. It'll show up as an option in the preferences. So, but unless it's not installed, but I think it does show up in Nautilus. It doesn't on the normal file share program. And remember the Control L key too. If you use Nautilus, Control L is your buddy, because that's what opens up the ability to enter a path. Otherwise, you don't. You get stuck in your home directory and you can't go anywhere. Because you can't enter a path, so you can't like go to root or anything. But Control L activates, a little, dialog box or whatever, so you can enter the, so you can enter a network path, or a file path. I mean, but at any rate, you'll also be missing the ability to log in as administrator. So that's another pack you'll have to install if you want to do any editing with Nautilus on a root level. As a super user, you've got to actually have that, that ability to, the menu to go down there and say, right click a file and say log in as administrator. But or edit as administrator, or open as administrator, and it'll ask you for a password shit, but that's not installed by default either, so you got to go download that, and it's tricky to find it, and but it's out there. But at any rate, that allows you to do a form of networking similar to what I showed you here on Windows. It works kind of the same way Windows used to work, actually, because you actually go down to properties and you actually have a sharing option in one of the tabs. I think there's 3 tabs if I recall, and one of them is a sharing tab, and you can kind of set it up there, and it works a lot like Windows used to work. However, none of these things, I cannot browse my network. I do not know why. There's no way. The only thing that shows up when I go into network, the network option is, it says a Windows network, okay, and you click on that and there's nothing in it. So I don't know why the hell the damn thing can't see anything on the damn LAN. But can't even see other Linux computers on it. It's ridiculous. But in any event, that's one way, but that doesn't involve Samba. Now Samba is something different, and boy, that was a motherfucker to set up. Now I'm sure somebody's got some kind of program to streamline that, but I did find an article, on setting it up manually on Ubuntu's, it's one of those Ubuntu centric websites, I think, or maybe it wasn't, maybe it was a Lenix website, but anyway, it's aimed at Ubuntu. So, just look up, Samba, Ubuntu networking, or whatever, and that shows you how to set it up. It's a pain in the butt, though, and you gotta follow it very carefully. Let's see, Samba, Ubuntu, not Ubuntu, 1804, set up the later, the newer, try that, see what happens. I didn't, find it on this computer, obviously. How do I install and configure Samba on Ubuntu 1804? Yeah, I think this might be it. Lenix Eyes is something like this. Linux based, but not necessarily Ubuntu. And yeah, this is it right here. So, just remember the Linux Eyes. You can see what that email address is. But yeah, this is the one, and you just got to go through these. It does have this convenient little copy thing that shows up, but you just got to go through it. But remember, once you edit the file, I had a big hard time editing the files it tells you to edit, because it kept corrupting them for some reason. With Nano or whatever, it kept, it just kept messing the file up, because you got to run a test on it, which it doesn't tell you how to do, which is annoying as shit. So I had to go look that up too. See, okay, here's the Nano editor. It tells you add this, that file, but it's actually already added to the file. But you got to run this test param, and it doesn't show you how to do that. But all you do is enter test param. And again, I do everything as super user just to streamline this stuff. But when you're super user, you can still, even with something like this, you can still enter this exact line. It doesn't matter if you're super user or not. It'll just ignore the sudo. So there's some things that just don't quite work right if you're not actually super user, even if it shows that that's what to do. But anyway, you run this test param, and you put the file name, you know, after you've backed it up, you know, be sure to back it up, because believe me, you're going to want to. But this smb.conf, so you'll want to run the test param on it, and it should give you an all files okay, you know, like they say here. If it doesn't, that means the editor fucked it up somehow, and I don't know how, because I didn't even edit it the first time I picked it up, but it corrupted it somehow, and I ran the file, and, you know, I mean, I tested the file, and yeah, it said it's corrupted, you know, but the backup worked. It was not corrupted. Even though I didn't make any changes, I just exited out, because these were already done by following their instructions to set it all up. You know, these were already done, so I don't know what happened, but in any event, yeah, that was a pain in the ass, getting it to work. So that's why I eventually just went ahead and set up Nautilus, so I could, you know, because that editor just sucks too. Like you know, you can't really copy and paste properly. It's, you know, you can't use the mouse, and you just really can't search through things very well. I just do not care for that editor. I mean, it's like fucking, you know, from the mid '80s or something. You know, it's just ridiculous. I don't know why these people, you know, are so fixated on that. These little idiots, you know, idiot programmers that think that's a good idea. You know, command line. You know, believe me, I grew up with the fucking command line, fellas. It's not nostalgic. It sucked. It's way better how we do computers these days. You know, get with the fucking program, people. Grow the fuck up. Believe me, if you live through that, you know, having that as your only option, you'd realize just how much computers have improved with this GUI stuff. There's a reason all computers work this way. There's a reason Steve Jobs had such a hard-on for all this, because it really is a better way of doing things. And there is a reason that everybody's copycatted that too, including Steve Jobs from Xerox PARC, but because it's a good idea, and this is because it's more efficient. It really is more efficient, even if you're a computer pro, for most things. So, you know, some things that are nice doing the command line, I'll admit that. But don't get it married to it. In any event, the fact of the matter is, though, is that, yeah, you got to keep that in mind. That's why I went ahead and set up Nautilus, so that I could edit as a super user, because otherwise I couldn't edit like text files like this file here, you know. But when I set Nautilus up as a super user, then I finally could open it as a super user, enter a password, okay, voila, I can save it, you know, as a super user, and it's fine, you know, in like Mousepad or whatever their editor was. So anyway, that's a way of doing it. I still haven't figured it out in Fedora yet, not quite. You know, and other versions like Manjaro and so forth, which, you know, is kind of related to Manjaro, Fedora, because they got similar roots with Red Hat and all that. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. You know, I'm still kind of looking into some of the other distros I have. But that Linux I'm using has XFCE on it, so, you know, it's, most of my computers seem to have that, so that seems to be the most versatile space. I just really don't like KDE that much, because I've had so much trouble with it. I mean, it's hard to get that damn thing to work properly on a lot of my older computers, especially if you have HDMI monitors. I mean, fuck, you know, even trying to get the volume to work right. Even on non-KDE, you know, computers can be a real pain in the ass. You know, if you get your sound through the damn television, you know, the HDMI, you know, man, you're gonna have a hard time with some of that shit. And boy, Linux, I just love it. You know, if you got a good graphics card, and, you know, have fun trying to get an actual driver installed. That usually is not going to happen unless you're a fucking IT expert. That's why, you know, Linux is just really never going to become a mainstream computer, and that's why. I mean, they just, you know, there's so many things that are simple to do in like Windows that take you hours to do in you know, in Linux. Just like, you know, most of these systems, even trying to fucking, you know, just change, you know, some of the settings on it. I mean, there's like 50 different settings programs, you know, and holy shit, you know, so you got to, you know, find the right program to change the setting you're looking for. Now, some of them have kind of more organized access to that than others, but still it's even confusing on some of those. Well, I think I've seen one or two distros. I mean, I've messed with about, I don't know, 15 or 20 well, not 20, but probably 15 distros of Linux. And even I looked at, oh, fucking, what a nightmare that was. I looked at, you know, Solaris, Unix. And what the fuckers don't tell you is that they don't install the graphical version anymore. Okay, and that if you actually try to install on your computer, well, the thing will just go crazy and start installing itself when you think it's trying to load a GUI or something. But in fact, no, it's just all text only. Okay, and what it's really doing is, you know, unbeknownst to you, it's actually installing itself without giving you any kind of warning that's going to wipe out your computer. It will. It wiped out my Windows 7 computer and a couple of Linux distributions I had on there. I mean, it wiped it out. And of course, being Windows 7 and on a fucking, you know, refurbished computer, well, I had no disks, so there's no way of restoring it. You know, and that was the only damn computer my Robo 3D worked on. You know, I had that set up, and well, that's gone now. So, you know, I'm going to have to figure something else out on that. Because believe it or not, Robo 3D does not make software version of the, or have a version of the software configured for Linux. So I was surprised to find out. But that matter control supposedly is available on Linux, so we'll see. But at any rate, I don't know. I don't want to be doing that. But anyway, that just really irritated me. So if you're messing with Solaris, do not do it on a computer you care about at all. I mean, I thought it was protected because it said left and right. Oh, you know, it won't hurt Windows. You know, it'll definitely recognize Windows. Now, Linux it may not recognize. But no, the damn thing just goes crazy on you. You don't know what it's doing because their information's all out of date, like everything else on the fucking internet. But yeah, I mean, somebody should sue those motherfuckers because I'll tell you what, that's really negligent. Really not to at least put a warning on it. Should have a warning on the internet. Hey, you know, this is likely to wipe your shit out. You know, and even on the fucking program, it should definitely say that there. Hey, we're about to wipe your hard drive. You know, it doesn't give you any kind of fucking warning like that at all. You know, you just set like your language and whatever, then it just goes crazy. I mean, it just takes off. So do not fucking fuck with that thing. Do not fuck with Solaris at all. At all. You know, if you want to mess with Solaris, you know, look for the Open Indiana. You know, do a search for that. That at least does have the GUI version of it, but then just do like either a virtual box install or put it on a thumb drive and do a live version of it, you know, on your computer, but don't install it on your computer because even that I'm not sure about. But if you're gonna install it, you know, actually install it, just make sure it's on a computer you don't care about. Now, I think it'll actually run in a pretty old computer, so you know, you might have an old, you know, Pentium 3 lying around or something like that, and I think it'll run on it, even though it's 32-bit. I think it'll run on it. But do not mess with actual Solaris from Oracle. You know, that will fucking fuck up your day. So, in any event, you know, yeah, I just wanted to kind of make, you know, a video about some of this so-called wisdom that I've gained over the last several days, and you know, I like I said, I don't know how thorough I was. I'm sure there's a few critical details I left out somewhere, but I'm trying to, you know, be as thorough as I can with it. But anyway, you know, the Linux stuff really was, you know, for a separate video, but I'm still trying to get all that, you know, worked out because I don't even have microphones on most of those Linux computers, so making a video on them is a little more difficult. Anyway.